Hello, and welcome back to our video series, Awakening Intuition, where we pull oracle cards twice a month from my oracle decks, Awakening Intuition and Grief, Grace, and Healing. So today we will be pulling oracle cards for the first part of April 2024. And as soon as I say that, I'm reminded that we will be in a Mercury retrograde for most of April. And you may even have started feeling that energy kick in the latter part of March. So Mercury retrograde is a time to reflect, review, and revise things in your life. So you might just feel the need to slow down, be a little more intentional, and be a little more contemplative. So don't be afraid if it feels like it's a time where you need to reflect, review, and revise things in your life. And then the energy should be kicking even more forward motion once we get through the retrograde. So don't be afraid to take it down a notch. Also, this is the point in the video where I like to encourage us to practice using our intuition, which is what this deck is all about. And we can do that by right now pausing the video or, just slowing down in that Mercury retrograde way and asking your intuition to pick a number 1, 2, or 3. So when you do that, you pick a number 1, 2, or 3 now with your intuition. When I pull 3 cards from these decks in a moment, you might then find that the number you chose now is the number of the card that was actually most relevant for you for the next 2 weeks of April. So there are a few ways that your intuition might show you that number or give you that number 1, 2, or 3. The first is you might just hear the number 1 in your mind. That's the psychic pathway of clairaudience. Also, you could see the number 2 as an image in your mind. That's the psychic pathway of clairvoyance. You might also just feel really pulled to that number 3. Every time I say the number 3, it's like, oh, my energy body gets all tingly and comes alive. The energy around me feels heavy. It feels light. Something about that number 3, I'm just pulled to it. That's the psychic pathway of clairsentience, the feeling psychic pathway. So I also, and this is very Mercury retrograde, I like to kind of do a quick recap of the last 3 cards we pulled for the second half of March 2024 and just share with you some of the cards and things that turned out to be most important for me. So the first thing that really was so important for me in the last part of March is we pulled a card from Grief, Grace, and Healing that encouraged us to move our body and pay a little bit more attention to the physical body. And when I looked at that card, I heard clairaudiently that some of us in the second half of March might be given an invitation to really go on a health kick in some way. Wow, man, did that really become true for me? I felt so motivated in the second half of March. I was just eating really well and exercising and resting and just, making sure my supplements were all dialed in and taking them regularly. I was on a major kind of cleanse and health kick for the second half of March. So I don't know if you were feeling that. The other thing I noticed in the last half of March, which again, that was something I heard clairaudiently when we were pulling cards for the last half of March, is that something might come up for you in the second half of March, and maybe it did, where you thought, oh, I've seen this before. I've seen this kind of relationship, situation, pattern before. But as it came up for you, because you'd been through this before and dealt with it before, whether it was joyous or neutral or challenging, you were better able to meet it. You were better able to move through it, even maybe in a more healthy way. So that happened for me in the second half of March, where some patterns or old things I recognized came up. And I was like, yep, been through this before, but I was able to meet it in an even more empowered, healthy way because I'd been through it before and I had that banked wisdom. So I hope if that came up for you in the second half of March, you were better able to meet those situations, whether it was just soaking up all the joy or just moving through something neutrally or being able to really manage a challenge even better for yourself. So here we go. We will pull cards for the first half of April. I'm so excited to do this. And we'll just unbox Awakening Intuition here. This Oracle deck continues to be just wildly popular. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful it's resonating with people and helping people work with their intuition daily. A lot of people have told me they pull a card from this deck once a day. to give themselves kind of some inspiration to and ask their intuition how they should work with their psychic ability that day. So here we go. We will just warm up the cards. I did that a little bit off camera, and we can do it again here just by holding the deck between our palm chakras and setting the intention that we will pull two cards from this deck that will really help people watching this video in some way navigate what shows up for them in the first half of April. So remember your number, 1, 2, or 3, and here we go. We're about to pull the first card. I always encourage people to use your own pull method. There are so many different ways you can pull cards, but I'll show you mine. And as you know, we are just looking for a card to really stick out and just hold there and really get our attention that this is the card for the first half of April. Here we go. So we're shuffling, and again, we're just, there you go. Wasn't that lovely? Popped right out, a couple inches above. It's a single card. This April energy is go. Mercury retrograde or not. Here we go. So that is our first card for the first part of April. And now let's see how the pull goes for the second card, because it might be slightly different, but we'll do the same thing. We'll just start shuffling. And again, we're looking for a card to really jump out, stick the landing, and tell us, hey, this is me. Here we go. We actually got 2 cards that time that stuck out, but one is sticking out a little more, I can see here, and it's the first card. So I'm taking that card. Nice card. I love that card. Okay, and now we are going to do a little bit different pull method from Grief, Grace, and Healing, just showing you a different way. Ooh. That crystal wants our attention. This is one of our props, and we might edit this out. I'm not sure, but here we go. Okay, crystal's back. So here we go. We're unboxing Grief, Grace, and Healing. This is a really special oracle deck that helps you with anything you are grieving in your life. It could be something that just happened last week. It could be something that happened years ago. But this deck, I designed it so that it can help you with the grief process. Again, you could be grieving a person, a place, a role in your life, a time, something that even didn't happen, a dream that you wanted to happen that never happened. Anytime you're really needing to just go within and grieve, this deck is helpful because not only does it have cards that address grief, it also has cards about grace, that benevolent spiritual force that comes in to support you, and healing, which is how we mend and transform through loss and grief. So let's pull a card from this, and we'll do our different pull method where we still warm up the cards between our palm chakras, and we set the intention that we're going to get a really lovely, I hear hopeful card for people for the first half of April. I love that card. And that is very hopeful, which is nice. The angels were reminding me as I pulled cards for that just now from the Grief, Grace, and Healing that April tends to have a real fresh start energy. It's the energy of Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. It's spring, when everything's bursting forth. And in some, traditions and places in the world, they really consider spring the beginning of the year, not even really January. So there's a big kind of new beginning, fresh start energy that happens for a lot of people in April. And you can hook into that wherever you are in the world. So here we go. We'll talk about the first card. If you picked card number 1, you picked Anchor into Your Energy. Ooh. This is great. I'm hearing, before I even read this card, I'll share with you, I'm hearing clairaudiently, this will help you feel even more powerful in the first 2 weeks of April if you anchor into your own energy. And let's see what the card has to say for us. Come home to yourself instead of focusing on others, tasks to be completed, or the external world. Stop riding every wave and drop anchor by doing an activity you love or spending quality self-care time alone. Center yourself to feel more powerful, calm, and confident. Your intuition will then stabilize. I do feel like there are going to be some opportunities for some people watching this video in the first 2 weeks of April where they will need to feel, powerful and especially confident, I hear. So it's a wonderful way to center yourself, to bank your energy, to anchor into your own energy. And that can simply mean just kind of focusing a little bit more on you. focusing on, as the card says, activities you love, spending time with yourself, even especially since we're in a Mercury retrograde, this might be having some deep contemplative thoughts about you, about your life, about how you want to move forward with this fresh start energy. Because I know a lot of people watching these videos are very compassionate, caring people, and you have a lot of people that maybe rely on you or depend on you, or you can be very outwardly focused, like an earth angel. My book, Are You an Earth Angel? Where you're kind of a caretaker by nature. So, really permission to focus on yourself, because I hear there are some people watching this video, especially if you pull card number 1, where in the first 2 weeks of April, you're really going to get clear and even determined on what you want and how you want to move forward. So don't be afraid to kind of pull back, retreat, and just spend a little time thinking about you, your needs, your wants, and how you want to move forward. And even I hear reconfiguring some things in your life. So that's wonderful time. That's a wonderful Mercury retrograde thing to be spending time on. The second card really flows in so lovely to that first card. It says, quiet your mind. So if you chose card number 2 with your intuition, you chose the card quiet your mind. There is a direct correlation between quieting your mind and maximizing your intuition. Create more open space between your thoughts to experience fewer thoughts in general. A mind not distracted by mental chatter will more easily recognize clear cognizant insights and intuitive guidance of all kinds. Make the mind a soft landing place for your soul. Okay. 2 things came up for me as I read that card clairaudiently. I got a couple of messages. One, I think just as the card speaks to, you're going to want to quiet your mind, which can be having less stimulation, less time, out and about, less time, talking to other people about their problems or their issues or caretaking them, and kind of having less stimulation so you can really, again, kind of bank your energy. And as you have less stimulation in your environment, your mind can more easily calm and quiet. And that opens up the intuitive pathway of claircognizance, as the card says. That's where you can get some big mental downloads about what you want to be doing going forward. It could be that you get some epiphanies, some wonderful, just psychic and intuitive hints and invitations that come as breakthrough thoughts, epiphanies that, oh my gosh, I feel like I know how to handle this, or I know how to think about this situation, or I'm having a new kind of download about myself and my life and what I need to be focusing on next. So the more you can quiet and calm your mind through a meditation practice, through just, chilling out a bit, maybe some changes to your diets or supplements, however it's best for you to quiet and calm your mind, that will be important, because I think what I hear right now clairaudiently is some of us will be getting some new downloads and new epiphanies in the first part of April. So we want to have that mind clutter free so we can pull those in and really understand them. And again, I'm hearing bank your energy. It's a Mercury retrograde. Don't be afraid to do that. And sometimes you have to do that in very small ways. If you have a busy life, or you're thinking, gosh, I have so much planned for the first 2 weeks of April, go out and have fun, but still find those moments throughout the day where you can be quiet and come home to yourself and get those epiphanies that might be coming in for you. The third card I really love as a writer, of course. Enjoy a healing story. So let me read this card to you from the Grief, Grace, and Healing deck. Stories serve as templates for healing and inform your healing process. Is there a fictional character whose emotional experience mirrors your own? Is there someone in your world or in the public eye whose life story provides insight into yours? Storytelling is a healing art, reminding you of what's best in the human spirit. So, I think those healing stories are, for me, a healing story is a story where you see a character, whether it's a true story or it's something that's fiction that just really resonates with you, where you see a character or a group of characters go through a difficult time and they come out the other side in a healing way. It doesn't mean that they even might get the outcome that they wanted or that everything completely resolves, but there's a real sense of healing and mending and transformation. And often these stories become important to us because it opens up our own heart and we can connect the dots between what we see a character going through and something that we've gone through in our life. Again, it might even be that the healing story is just the character learning how to manage a wonderful time that comes into their life. And that's part of the healing. So it doesn't always have to be very challenging or traumatic things, but it can be. So, what I'm hearing for some people in the first 2 weeks of April is you might have a story come on your radar. It could be you just suddenly, randomly put on this Netflix movie. Oh, I meant to watch that a couple of years ago when it came out, but for some reason I'm feeling called to watch that tonight. Wow, that movie blew my mind. It really spoke to me. It had some important information about my journey or how I want to move forward in my life now. I really related to a character or the theme of the story, and the story was actually quite healing for me. Another way that this could happen is a friend could tell you a story, or you see about their life or someone they know, or you see a story in the news that is just like, wow, gosh, that is so speaking to me. And it's kind of backing up these epiphanies I've been having about myself or my life or how I want to move forward. I'm hearing clairaudiently that healing stories are incredibly comforting and nurturing. And it might be that that's just something that we all need in the world right now, with things going on in the world or things going on in your own personal life. So snuggle into those healing stories. They can really be nourishing and feed your spirit and feed your soul so that you can come out into this April energy like, yeah, man, let's go. I can do this. So I hope these cards resonated for you. And whether you pulled card number 1, 2, or 3, just remember that, and when I say pulled, I mean, if your intuition and the intuition practice pulled card number 1, 2, or 3, pay attention to that card, but realize that maybe all the cards resonate, or pay attention as you move through the first 2 weeks of April. You might find that a card that your intuition didn't pick is the one that turns out being most relevant for you or resonates for you. But really, I'm hearing watch for that healing story to come in through a friend or family member or coworker, something you see in the news or something you read. You go to Barnes and Noble and you're drawn to get this story or this fiction or memoir story that really, really, I think just makes you feel more empowered and even boost your self-esteem and your confidence, just like the first card was talking about. So thank you for being here with me for another session of Awakening Intuition video series. And we'll be here next time to pull 3 new cards for the second half of April 2024. I'll share my own insights about how these cards resonated for me, and you can think about how these cards resonated for you. So I'll see you back here around April 15th for a new video. In the meantime, if you'd like to get this deck, Awakening Intuition, or the Grief, Grace, or Healing, give them to a friend or family member, a loved one. You can find links below this video on how to do that. And you can also find links below on getting an intuitive reading with me if you're called to do that, or signing up for my free newsletter, which I try and put out every 2 weeks. And I also have a lot of other offerings. I've got 9 books on spirituality, including books on angels, and a lovely self-love calendar that comes out every year. But thank you for being here. The journey of doing these videos has been really, really wonderful for me. And starting this YouTube channel and reinvigorating it and doing these videos regularly has been really wonderful. So if you like these videos, like them and subscribe to the channel. That helps it grow. And I can really feel kind of a palpable energy as I'm ending the video here. So please just know that whatever goes on for you in the first part of April, I hope there are some real pleasant surprises for you. And no matter what's going on, my prayers and my heart are with you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.